Hi everyone, this is the intro before the intro. I just want to let you know that in the middle of this video, I talk about something that's really important, stop the bleed training. I promise this thing is so easy to use and this can save lives. This tiny little thing can save lives and I explain how to use it. If you don't watch anything in this video at all, please skip to that so we can all learn how to stop the bleed and save lives. All right, into the video. Hi everyone, this is Editing Lydia coming to you. I just wanted to preface that this video, I am extremely emotional the whole time. I always get this way at the beginning of a module, so you'll just see how it goes. But I just wanted to preface that I'm okay. It's now 3 weeks later. We're doing okay. I would just be concerned if I was watching this video. I considered completely scratching it because I was kind of all over the place, but trying to show the real and rawness of life. Not just medical school, but if you're in medical school, you maybe can relate, or just literally with anything in life. So just prefacing that I'm okay. I promise. And God is good, so we're all okay, but just prefacing this video so you're not gonna call me up and be like, do you need help? So yeah.
Believe me, I never got invited to any parties. I just sit out from the in crowd and stay within my boundaries. I'd hang on my friends and it was great. We'd go out but not that late, and I really love it, never want to change. But sometimes I can't help but think, am I missing out on something I don't have? Cause I don't wanna give up being good to be bad. I just want some insight on the life of the average teenage dog.
How did I get yogurt on my sweatshirt already? Hold on, I didn't even see that. All right, hi, good morning. I look crazy. Anyway, welcome to the start of the first week. Not the like single tear running down my face. Okay, I'm gonna pull it together and eat my yogurt and toast. It's the start of the it's the start of the second semester of med school. I'm just overwhelmed, but it's okay. I always get like this at the beginning of the module. I should expect it. It is such a blessing to be able to go to school. I need to focus on the positives today because this is just distracting. There are like happy things happening, okay? This is the start of the cardiopulmonary and hematology module. That is such a mouthful. People call it CP Heme, but it's out of order because we actually do hematology first. We have 2 weeks of blood, 4 weeks of cardio, and then 3 weeks of lungs, I think. This first week is blood. I studied this weekend a little bit and have gone through all the lectures once, but nothing really stuck very well because this does feel like learning a whole different language. Now we're actually learning about physiology and disease processes. This first week back, we don't have our small group that meets called case-based learning, or CBL group. That's when we go through a patient case just on a document, but with our first week back, we don't have it. So I don't have anything mandatory this Monday morning. I do have something mandatory from 1 to 4 in the afternoon today, but this week I don't have as many mandatory in-person things, which is a nice ease back into it. And I did my Anki for the day. I had my due cards for the day, and that took me about 30 minutes, and now I'm eating breakfast. I am going to go get a gym membership at a new gym for me. For the end of last semester, y'all saw that I had been working out downstairs in our basement with just a mat and dumbbells, which I'm not saying I won't do that, but I think I do need to get out of the house a little bit more just for my mental sanity, because I study so much better just at my desk in my room. So I'm in the house so much when I don't have to be on campus for anything. I think I just need to get out of the house a little bit more. That's really funny. I'm like sounding like a hermit.
She just has it all. I know that it doesn't matter in the end, but sometimes I feel I'm on the outside looking in. I'm happy where I'm at, so I won't get too vocal, but sometimes I wonder what it's like to be.
I'm literally looking for my phone and it's filming me. I'm actually losing my mind. That is not how we want to start this Monday.
Not trying to complain, I'm just a little curious, cause I see the picture, see the post, reckless me, not even close, cause why would I be...
All right, hi everyone. I'm gonna head to campus. Oh no, literally whenever I start talking, I just start crying. I think I just need to stay mute. I was going to talk about the cool thing I learned. I've never heard of these conditions before, so it was interesting. Porphyrias, I could be pronouncing that horribly, but there's like 3 different porphyrias that we're learning about right now. We think of heme, we think of hemoglobin, what binds oxygen to transport it in our bloodstream. Heme synthesis we're learning about, so the process of making heme. And there are 3 enzymes that could be messed up and cause someone to have a porphyria. You could have acute intermittent porphyria, which causes you to have the 5 P's. Those are the symptoms: painful abdomen, polyneuropathy, port wine colored urine, psychiatric symptoms, and then actually the 5th one's not really a symptom, it's just perceived or precipitated by certain drugs. You can have that if you have PBG deaminase messed up, which I'm gonna butcher the name, porphobilinogen deaminase. Terrible. I cannot believe I just said that. The next one you could have is PCT, porphyria cutanea tarda. I could also be pronouncing that so wrong. This is where you have delayed blistering with photosensitivity, so you're sensitive to light and you can have delayed blistering on your skin. And you can also just have other skin issues. You can have overgrowth of hair, skin coloring issues. That is when you have UPG decarboxylase messed up. The 3rd type that we're learning about is EPP. You could have acute photosensitivity. You don't blister, but you have an acute reaction to it. And sometimes this happens in kids, and then you can also have some decreased liver function with that. So those are the 3 things I just learned about, and I just blabbed out. I have 15 minutes now to go make a sandwich and eat it, but that's what I'm learning about. I'm gonna go to campus for histopathology lab, and I think it's on peripheral blood cells, which is good because that's a lecture that I just covered, so hopefully we'll be okay.
I should be happy with the friends I've got, but these thoughts still come to mind, and I can't help but wondering sometimes, am I missing out on something I don't have? 'Cause I don't wanna give up being good to be bad, but I bet if I was there I wouldn't care. I'd dance, but I'd stay low. Kids all raising cups while I'm in the back staring at my phone.
All right, it is now towards the end of the day. I went to my histopathology lab and we ended up doing our own blood smear. So if you don't like looking at like bruises or something, look away. But we had to prick our own finger, and I had to prick mine twice because it didn't work the first time. My middle finger is bruised on the side and the top.
I know that it doesn't matter in the end, but sometimes I feel I'm on the outside looking in, and I'm happy where I'm at, so I won't get.
Oh my word. Okay. I look like this. Here's my, what's the thing called when someone gets taken? Proof of life. I am alive. It's only Wednesday. I didn't talk to the camera yesterday. I will be honest with you guys, and I don't want to cry now. I've been crying a lot. I just have to remind myself. This has happened to me at the start of 2 previous modules, especially like when I just started school, but I just get overwhelmed and think about how many more years I have to do this, and then, you know, this starts to happen. And yesterday it was really, really, really bad, to the point where I took about 2.5 hours to study 1 lecture. That shouldn't have taken me that long because I just kept crying to the point where I couldn't read what was on my screen. Anyway, I'm trying to pray a lot and listen to a lot of worship music and read Bible, but I also just need to study, and we're here, we're doing okay. I have 30 seconds left in my 5-minute break before I go back to studying malaria.
Sometimes I wonder what it's like to be a little bit more social.
Oh my. All right, everyone, I look like a mess. I am done studying for now. In 20-ish minutes or so, I need to leave to go to a workout class that I'm going to with my roommate, and then I'm going to dinner at a friend's house. I wanted to share a couple things. Going back on Monday, you saw a clip of me looking at a microscope. I actually pricked my finger twice because I didn't get it right the first time. We made blood smears and we were able to look at our own blood. So here's my blood. They also just gave us lancets and said, okay, like go ahead and prick yourself. None of us knew what we were doing. I thought it was gonna be the kind that you just don't see the needle and then you press and then it quickly does it. No, they gave us just a needle. And so we all did it like really slow, which hurt even worse. We should have just done it really fast. Tuesday, I went in class to do some different training. One was stop the bleed training, and we got our own tourniquets. This is actually extremely important too. This stop the bleed training actually came into existence after a school shooting where almost 26-year-olds passed away. It was tragic, and a lot of the injuries were not injuries that someone should have died from. They just lost so much blood that's why they died. It's tragic, it's sad. This program came out of it because stopping the bleed in an emergency situation or a trauma situation is really what saves lives. I'm gonna open my tourniquet and show you how to use it. I just wanna show you a little bit of what we learned because it is important no matter who you are. I promise this thing is so easy to use and this can save lives. ABC, if you're in a trauma situation, no matter who you are, whatever's going on, if there's a gunshot wound, if there's any kind of open fracture, if someone was impaled with something, there's a lot of bleeding, this is what you do. ABC. A, alert 911. That is the first thing that you do. If someone else is on the scene, you can tell them, hey, call 911, and then you can start working on the rest, but make sure you alert 911 because everything that these patients are going through, it's going to be painful and they're going to need to be in the ER rapidly. But you can do something now, but it's going to be painful and they're going to want EMS to get there to give them some pain meds. That's our A, alert 911. B, bleeding. Where is the bleeding coming from? You've got to figure out where it's coming from so you can figure out how to treat it. If it's a bullet wound and you see just blood like on the top of their thigh, roll them around and see if it came out the other end of their leg. If there's an exit wound that's bleeding, take their clothes off and make sure you can lay your eyes on where the bleeding is coming from, because if you're like really hesitant and don't want to take their shirt off, it doesn't matter, like you're there to save their life. Anyway, so see where the bleeding is coming from. So A, alert 911, B, bleeding, C, compress. There are different ways you can compress. Putting pressure on the wound, using a tourniquet, or packing the wound. So pressure on the wound is really what it sounds like, putting some weight into it. Packing is for any wound. You can use gauze if you have it there, but you can also use t-shirts, you can use socks, you can use whatever you have that will absorb the blood. And I know that we're probably all cringing thinking, putting my socks into a wound, we're gonna worry about infection. Yes, but that's what antibiotics are for. Right now, stopping the bleeding is what's important because the bleeding is what's going to kill them in this moment. We can worry about infection later and give antibiotics, but pack it with whatever you can and like keep packing, and then just keep adding more stuff onto it, and then you add pressure. If you have a tourniquet or anything you can make a tourniquet out of, that is the best thing to do. I'll show you how to use it on your arm. You can do it through clothing. It's best if you can get the clothing off the person, or like really thick coats to get those off of them. Even if you don't have a tourniquet, you can use several things. A tourniquet is this loop thing. I don't know the proper, oops, I have to get ready, okay. You have this circular band, something to tie around the wound, and then this hard rod that helps you tighten the material. I know there's technical names for these, I don't remember them. You can use a t-shirt and an expo marker, or a t-shirt and a stick, something that resembles this. I'm gonna show you how to do it on my arm. Say I'm bleeding here. I am not gonna put it on my elbow joint because it's too bony. It's not gonna stick well. I'm gonna go above the injury because you wanna stop the bleeding above where the injury is. You can also do this on yourself. So if you have a tourniquet and you're in an emergency situation, you can do it on yourself. It's gonna hurt like Hades, but it's gonna save your life. All right, so you have your tourniquet loop. You're gonna put your arm through it and you're gonna tighten it down. I'm not gonna tighten it down as much as I would if I was actually bleeding because it's gonna hurt, but if anyone's actually bleeding, tighten that sucker down as far as it'll go. And then you tighten it even more with this rod. You twist this sucker until the bleeding stops. No matter if they're screaming in pain, you're saving their life. Okay, you twist it until the bleeding stops. Now I'm not gonna twist it that tight. Now you lock it in place. All right, so I've twisted it and it's tighter. Now you lock it in place the direction that it wants to go back, because there's these slots right here. You lock it in. When do you remove the tourniquet? You do not remove the tourniquet, ever. Ambulance gets there, don't remove the tourniquet. Those people in the ER will figure out how to remove the tourniquet. You will never get your tourniquet back if you use it on someone else, because you should never take off the tourniquet and remove the pressure. That's an arm. I'm gonna quickly show you a leg, and then I'm gonna get ready for this workout class. Tourniquets should only be used on limbs. Do not put this around someone's neck. Don't put it around someone's like armpit. Don't put it around their abdomen. That's even worse. That's when you pack a wound and put pressure on it. You're not gonna want to lift someone's leg up and put their leg through the hole. Just fully make it open. You're gonna wrap it around the leg. Now put it through like you're putting on a belt and tighten that sucker. Not on the knee joint, above it if that's where the wound is, like depending on where the wound is. Tighten it down, and then you twist this sucker until the bleeding stops, and you lock it in. How to save a life. Hi, hello, it's the next day. I am studying right now. Later in the day, I will give you a longer update, but here's something that I find really funny, but I think it's actually gonna help me remember these things. So here you go. Okay, this is a slide I'm looking at. We're looking at hereditary platelet disorders. We're comparing these two, Glanzmann thrombasthenia and Bernard-Sillier syndrome. Probably pronouncing these wrong, but that's okay. They're both autosomal recessive, so same like hereditary pattern, but here's one of the main differences. Glanzmann thrombasthenia has a lack of GP2B or 3A, which is part of the clotting pathway, and then Bernard-Sillier syndrome has a defect or a lack of GP1B, which is different. I'm terrible explaining this. And then another thing is that platelet aggregation studies with Glanzmann thrombasthenia, it only aggregates with ristocetin, probably pronouncing that wrong too, but with Bernard-Sillier syndrome, it will aggregate with everything except ristocetin. So here's how we got this. Glanzmann thrombasthenia. I was like, okay, Glanzmann, what's kind of close? Glanzmann, Glenn, like Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell lack of GP 2B to 3A compared to just GP 1B. And I was like, okay, well, he's been in a lot of movies. The number's higher. Instead of 1B, it's 2B and 3A. Glenn Powell is richer, so he has just more in general, and he's been in more movies, whatever. And with Risto Sutton, when I think of rich, I think of like jewelry, whatever, and jewelry goes on your wrist. So Glenn Powell is rich and been in a lot of movies, so the number's higher, and he's got diamonds on his wrist. And Bernard is just this poor guy who has no wrist jewelry and doesn't have much money to his name. And poor guy has thrombocytopenia. Is that kind of ridiculous? Probably. Will I remember it on the exam? I think so. Y'all, class was canceled tomorrow because of the bad weather coming in, and I get to go home today. They're thinking the ice is gonna be all on the roads around Augusta, and then where I'm from, there will definitely be ice and maybe some snow. So we are headed back home today. I should leave in the next 5 minutes or so. I just need to pack up a couple things. Yes, I did study this morning. What was I gonna talk about? Oh, I was gonna update y'all on the workout class that I took yesterday with my roommate. It kicked my behind, for real. Everything is sore. I went to body pump, which I didn't realize was a national thing. I'm not ageist at all. Generally, you think a 20-year-old versus a 60-year-old, the 20-year-old's probably gonna have a little more stamina. Absolutely not. I'm 21. The instructor of the class probably was in her 60s. She was crushing it. She had so much more weight she was lifting. And I know this is what she does for a living.
Okay, my camera dad was always trying to talk about this, but I know that is what that lady does for a living, which is amazing. She's so good, but my tail was whooped. Everything is sore today because it's a full body workout. It was amazing. I will so go back. Highly recommend if there's a body pump anywhere near you, please go try it. All right, that is an end to the video. I did go home. I played puzzles. It snowed. It was so odd. We're back and we're gonna continue the weekly vlogs. We're going to try to. The Bible verse for today is Psalm 121, 7-8. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going both now and forevermore. This is so evident in my life at the moment because, as you can tell from this video, like I was really in the trenches, but now it's 3 weeks later and I'm doing better, and I can just see how the Lord's worked just within 2 to 3 weeks in my own life and in my heart. So he is working and he's always watching over us, and he's not this monster up above that's trying to rain down punishments on us. Yes, he is just and there are consequences to our actions, but he's also loving and he's taking care of us, and he's our friend every step of the way. So dig into his word, pray, listen to worship music if you are going through it. I know that is not all what I wanted to hear. I promise you. I love my mother so much, but she was sending me Bible verses when I was going through it that week, and it was bothering me. Like, it just made me mad, but it's what I needed, honestly. I know it's probably not what you want to do in the moment, but it really did help me to dig into the word and just pray a lot. Even if my prayer sounded like, God, I do not know what's going on. I don't even know what to ask for. I just need you. Don't feel like any prayer is too silly or that you don't have the right words for God. Just talk to him. He's our friend and he's there watching over us and comforting us. He's just the best, you know? That was a really casual way of saying, you know, the Lord's the best. Anyway, it is too late. I have looked at the heart stuff too much this week, but we're getting to that later. Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day and be a blessing to others today. Bye, guys.